The Sharks just turned the puck over too many times as they lose to the LA Kings 5-1. So we're going to break down this game, look at what the numbers say, and then check in on some of these Sharks prospects at the World Juniors. So all that and more on today's episode.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is Tank Commander JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly a part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch this bad boy on YouTube as well. And the Sharks, despite a strong, very good first period, just get in their own way, as we've seen the Sharks team do way too many times this season, as they lose 5-1 to the much superior LA Kings. So we're going to dive into that, dig into the numbers, continue to look at these forward lines, and the Eklund Hertl, the Zadina line continues to be they're getting ready to explode here soon. So we'll dig into all that, talk about the Sharks prospects at World Juniors. So before we get into all that, do want to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you guys by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 if your team wins. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And I do know the Sharks, we're right back at it. They play the Oilers tonight. You can catch every hit, every shot, every goal from the Sharks hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Sharks. So let's dig into this 5-1 Sharks loss. That showed a lot of promise at the beginning. I was, if you watch my little preview, I put out on YouTube and, on Instagram and all that stuff, like my little 1 minute shorts of, what I'm looking for in this game. And the thing I was really looking for is how would the Sharks start in this game, right? And especially coming off Christmas break, we haven't practiced, right? You've been away from the rink, and their first time on the ice was this morning, and I know they're professional athletes and stuff, but still, we know how much of a creatures of habit professional athletes are, and to get away from everything and kind of come back and see how you would do it. I was really interested to see how the Sharks would start, and they started really well, right? They kind of took it to the Kings for that first period, and it looked like, okay, maybe the Sharks might have something, but the Kings woke up and really kind of put the pressure on starting that second period, and you saw how much they forced Sharks errors. Especially that second goal where with Ferraro, Studnicka and Ferraro in the kind of the behind the net. Studnicka passes it to the net. Ferraro's kind of really not in a great position. And then all of a sudden he gets pressured. Boom, puck's in the back of the net, right? Or kind of just take advantage of opportunities. And, even the first goal, right? Henry Thrun's got the puck, and he tries to pass it to Barabanov, who's got a King player draped all over him. Next thing you know, it's a breakaway going the other way, and that's how the Kings get on the board right away. And those kind of things, right? This team is just not talented enough to overcome these type of mistakes, and the Sharks just constantly did that tonight of just putting themselves in bad situations. And like Calen Addison had a brutal night tonight. Fair, he has not played hockey in over a week now. And any practice he had, right? He had before the Christmas break was just brutal tonight, just rusty, just a lot of turnovers, unforced errors, and just a lot of stuff that you would not kind of expect to see from Calen Addison. So hopefully Addison's back at it tomorrow, gets a chance to kind of redeem himself. But this Kings team, that's what they do, right? And it kind of reminds me of this King team, reminds me of good Kings teams from like 10 years ago, where like the Sharks would dominate play for a while. They would make one mistake, and then the Kings would just kind of, counterattack. And that's just constantly what happened. Well, that's kind of what the Sharks kind of did this. They were playing with the lead, or kind of playing the lead, kind of controlling the pace. The Kings counterattacked, and then all of a sudden they flipped the script, and they were the ones kind of controlling the pace tonight. So, the quick turnaround. They play the Oilers tomorrow. The Oilers have been an absolute kind of, since they were the laughing stock of the NHL, beginning of the season, like, oh God, everything's going wrong. Oilers have turned things around, and they've won 7 out of their past 10 games, 7 out of 10, and they're working their way towards being a playoff team here soon. So, and I fully expect the Oilers to kind of continue to do what they've been doing, and just dominating teams. And wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks get to loss number 7 here, which, if you've been watching Macklin Celebrini at the World Juniors, we'll talk about World Juniors in a minute, isn't the worst thing in the world. So, Kaapo Kahkonen was, I think, great tonight. We'll talk about his numbers here a little bit more in depth. Actually, we'll probably just do those now, because I think he was, despite giving up 5 goals, I thought Kaapo Kahkonen played awesome tonight. He had some huge saves, like highlight reel saves of just robbing dudes constantly. And again, the numbers aren't the prettiest for Kaapo Kahkonen tonight, especially. He did give up 5 goals, but he made 37 saves on 42 shots. Expected goals against was 4.18. Goals against was 5. So, like, the Kings, and especially if you take in consideration the first period, which was the Kings basically sleptwalked through the first period. Kaapo Kahkonen was outstanding tonight, and some of those goals didn't get much defensive help. I think the last goal by Adrian Kempe, where he just walked Jan Ruda, and that's where you're hoping. There's 3 Sharks players there. There's Kempe, around Kempe. There's, I think it was Zadina, Ahochuk, and Ruda, and Kempe just walked Ruda, and none of those guys were able to help out there. And Kempe's a pretty good player. He made some amazing. There's a power play where he just gets over and just denies Kempe. Kempe could have had a hat trick tonight because of, and made an Kaapo Kahkonen made an amazing save. But yeah, so Kaapo Kahkonen's night tonight, 881 save percentage. Like I said, not the prettiest. 418 goals against, expected goals against, and 5 goals against. 12 high danger shots, 10 high danger saves. 14 mid-danger saves on 17 mid-danger shots, and then 13 for 13 on the low-danger stuff. So, he was good, and it'll be interesting because Mackenzie Blackwood was sick. The Sharks recalled Magnus Krona to kind of back up this game, and with a back-to-back, do you roll with Kaapo Kahkonen, who had a monster workload tonight? Do you see if maybe Mackenzie Blackwood is healthy enough to play, or do you throw out Magnus Krona, kind of throw him out to the wolves in this game, and what might be an ugly situation? And we've seen, the Oilers put on plenty of goals against the Sharks in the recent years. So it'll be interesting to see what David Quinn does in that situation, especially trying to manage this. And then the Sharks don't play again until Sunday, where they play Colorado. So maybe you just ride Kaapo Kahkonen, give yourself, and you have Friday, Saturday to kind of rest, and you haven't really played much. You got a couple days off here, so we'll see what he does. We'll know more kind of first thing on Thursday morning. So before we continue, we're going to look at the lines, look at the numbers behind this game, talk about the Zadina, Hertl, Eklund line, and why this line, if David Quinn keeps it together, this line's getting ready to explode here with some point production. And then, of course, talk about these Sharks at the World Juniors. So before we get into all that, just need to take a quick break. It's almost the halfway point of the season, and I know Sharks fans, it has been a tough year. But regardless of the Sharks being last in the standings, I want to remind you that you can win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash and daily fantasy hockey contest. All you have to do is either pick NHL superstars like McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon, or some of your favorite players like Tomas Hertl, Mikael Granlund, Slippery Pete, and record more or less on their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more in a given game. 2,100 times bet on sleeper. You need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player sets. You're me Sharks fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. All right, so let's dig into the numbers on this game. And it was a game of like the Sharks dominate, and then the Kings flip the script. Like the first and the third periods were kind of like mirror. It's pretty crazy. The second period was very close, even though the Kings had 3 goals in that second period. But the numbers behind the second period it was a very competitive second period. The Kings again just kind of took advantage of their opportunities. But kind of like I said, the script really flipped between the first and the third period. So in 49-36 of even strength, shot attempts was 62-52 in favor of the Kings. Actual shots on goal was 33-22 in favor of the Kings. Scoring chances 34-20, of course, in favor of the Kings. 11-8 high danger chances. 2.78 to 2.11 expected goals for. So the Sharks just got kind of unlucky when it came to puck luck tonight. I know the Sharks power play was not good tonight. The Kings just put the clamps on any Sharks power play opportunities. And Calen Addison got benched on the second power play unit because of the night he had. So again, it'll be interesting to see what David Quinn maybe just kind of chalks it up to the first game back, et cetera, et cetera. But like I said, the first period, though, compared to the third period. So the first period for the Kings was a 0.17 to 0.88 expected goals for in favor of the Sharks. Second period, 1.14 to 1.12 in favor of the Kings. So pretty even right there between the two. And, even there, it was like 16 to 10 scoring chances, 17 to 10 shots. The actual shot attempts, though, it was 20 to 24 in favor of the Kings. Like, it was relatively close. The Kings just did a better job of kind of taking advantage of those opportunities. But then that third period, where the Kings, again, were up, and they just kind of put the kibosh on the Sharks there. 1.46 expected goals for to 0.11 expected goals allowed. So, which is a little disappointing when the Sharks are, you would think, trying to kind of come back in this game, and you would expect to maybe like kind of get some stat padding. It was the Kings who were kind of padding their stats and making this game look way worse than it was heading into that third period. So that's what good teams do, right? They put away teams, and that's what the Kings did, right? They, as equivalent to like that 4-minute offense in the NFL, right? You get the ball and you just don't give it back. That's what the Kings did. They kind of just took the puck and did not give it back to the Sharks for basically the entire third period. They got several power play opportunities out of it, and just kind of 2 goals and put the thing away. So as for the lines tonight, so we had Alexander Barabanov make his return tonight, and so the lines were very similar to what we've seen in the top 6, right? Mikael Granlund, Fabian Zetterlund, Anthony Duclair. Then we also had the Eklund, Hertl, Zadina line. And then we had Barabanov, Cunnin, Mike Hoffman, and then LeBanc, Studnicka, Justin Bailey. So Eklund, Hertl, Zadina played 10:46 18 shot attempts for, 14 allowed. 8 to 5 actual shots. Expected goals for was 0.82 to 0.3. No goals for, no goals allowed. 9 to 7 scoring chances, 4 to 3 high danger chances, 5-4-6 zone starts. So I think this line is, since the past couple of weeks that we've seen this line put together here, they have been producing shot attempts, getting shots on goal. They just maybe haven't really seen the results. So I think the process is good there. I think they are due for some puck luck to kind of get things going for them here. So I hope we continue to see that line together. That line has been good, and I know the Kings are a absolute monster. They actually, this at one point it was much different. Like this was like a 14-0 until I think when the Kings really kind of put their foot on the gas here, shot attempts. But I want to continue to see this line. I think they're going to be overdue here for an offensive explosion really soon. So Zetterlund, Granlund, Duclair played 852, 11 shot attempts for, 6 against, 5 to 3 shots. 4 did have the goal. Zetterlund with a nice kind of steal and absolutely buried that. Zetterlund now 10 goals on the season. Timo Meier has 9. Just putting that out there. Expect goals for 0.49 to 0.23, 4 to 3 scoring chances, 1 to 2 high danger chances in favor of the Kings, and 4-1-4 for the zone starts. Barabanov, Kunin, Hoffman plays 619, 6 to 10 shot attempts, 1 to 7 actual shots. So this line kind of did not have a good night compared to the other ones. Did give up 2 goals, 0.12 to 0.57 expected goals, and 2 to 7 scoring chances, 1 to 1 high danger chances. This line just kind of got worked tonight, unfortunately. And then, and I think this is where we're seeing not having that quality center depth, with Couture and Couture and Nico Sturm both out right now. Getting those guys back, I really want to see that Couture kind of slide into that third line there, and then I'd feel pretty good about where the Sharks are headed, at least down the middle. So they made LeBanc, Studnicka, and Bailey 601, 5 to 8 shot attempts, 2 to 5 actual shots. Did give up a goal, that Studnicka goal, where he kind of gave Ferraro a grenade there, and then he just was not able to kind of handle it. So 3 to 2 scoring chances, 2 to 2 high danger chances, and then 1-3-1 for the zone starts. So as for the defenseman, it was not a great night for the defenseman. So I'm going to pull up with how those guys did their Corsi 4 tonight on Money Puck. So I do like how it kind of keeps the pairs together on them. So defensive pairings, Corsi 4. I should have pulled this up earlier. So Ferraro, Burrows, 22 shot attempts, gave 18. So actually a plus Corsi 4 there. Ahuchek, Ruda, 8 shot attempts, gave up 11. And then Calen Addison, 11 shot attempts, but gave up 17. Now that defensive pair was a little bit up and down tonight. Well, not a little bit. That defensive pair was did not have a good night, and kind of, I think, a lot to do with the rust with Calen Addison for not really having played hockey in a little bit, and then not having been able to kind of practice heading into it. So hopefully those guys get a bounce back here soon. So, and it looks like unless Vlasic draws back in, but I think we've seen David Quinn's pretty much trying to keep Vlasic out of the lineup as best as he can. Jacob McDonald was also put on IR today, so a couple more moves there. So Vlasic's the only guy left right now who's available to play defensively. So I expect to kind of see the same thing tomorrow night, and I think you'll probably see somewhat similar to the same lines, especially with Giovanni Smith. I think still kind of dealing with a little bit of I don't think he was at warning skate this morning either. So I think you're probably going to see similar lines, especially with a quick turnaround. So maybe a couple tweaks here on the bottom six. That's where I guess that there's a change, but again, you're just kind of rearranging the chairs on the Titanic at this point. So until you get some people back into the fray. So we'll look at some more positive stuff here in a minute by checking out Sharks players and hopefully soon to be Sharks players at the World Juniors in just 1 second. As the weather gets colder, the NFL stays hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. I would maybe go Oilers money line. Get yourself a nice win. Take some of that money, and that would do a nice parlay of Christian McCaffrey touchdown, Raheem Mostert touchdown. Those two guys are leading the NFL in touchdowns, and they're probably both going to be heavily utilized this weekend to try to score some touchdowns. So that's what I would do. Oilers money line against the Sharks. Win that, and then go try to get turn that into a Christian McCaffrey, Raheem Mostert touchdown. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, well, juniors time. So Sharks have a lot of prospects at World Juniors, right? You have Will Smith, Polkamp, both for Team USA, Furlong on Team Canada. You have Bystedt and Havlet on Team Sweden, and then you also have Kasper Halttunen on Team Finland. So we'll start with, again, I'm trying to watch as much as I can. Some of these games come on at like 3 a.m. So trying to relying on some of my, friends, peers, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, what they're seeing, stuff like that. So, we'll start. Kasper Halttunen had a pretty good game today against, but Finland did lose to Germany, but pretty good game today. Did have a goal. Was kind of all over the ice tonight. Had a breakaway that got denied, or got all over the ice this morning, whatever. He was all over the ice. Had a breakaway that was just denied in the third period. Like this, that's what we want to see, right? Is he's been kind of pigeonholed for the London Knights as a power play specialist, and he's been doing a very, very good job at that. But you want to see how he continues to develop his game. Maybe this is kind of like we saw with Bystedt last year, right? Maybe this is that springboard moment for him when he gets back to London to kind of round out his game some more and maybe kind of get an opportunity to be more utilized in London's lineup. So it's good to see. It's kind of a nice reminder, like, oh yeah, he's more than just a power play specialist. And as he continues to grow and get more comfortable with London, hopefully he's able to kind of see his role continue to grow. But if you didn't see the goal is an absolute beautiful, just like toe drag, insane shot. Like goalie had no chance, like ear hole, there's nothing the goalie could do. So go check out the Kasper Halttunen goal if you have not seen it. It is a thing of beauty. Bystedt, of course, in Team Sweden had 2 goals on what was that, Monday or the 26th? There we go. Let's just go with dates. On the 26th. And he's been, going to be a big part. A lot of that game was played on kind of a lot of the game was on the power play. That's where Sweden did a lot of their damage. But I expect Bystedt to continue to have a big tournament for Sweden. And it's good for him to kind of get going early, right? His SHL season's been a little up and down so far this year, and I want to see him continue to grow and be, I think like we saw last year, right? Coming back from World Juniors, using it as a springboard. I think that we're we could definitely be seeing the same thing again for that. Will Smith, I got to watch the Team USA game. It was weird because like you're used to watching Boston College where he just gets thrown out a lot all over the boards and he's out there on the ice and he's not his line was not utilized as much, but I thought he made pretty good opportunities of the ice time he did get. He made some great passes. That's right. That's the Will Smith thing, is making those great passes to set up his line mates. And we continue to see that. I hope as the tournament goes on, he continues to kind of get some more ice time, get some more opportunities to show. And, hopefully when we get to the medal rounds and all that stuff, where Will Smith is, being kind of one of the main pieces for Team USA. So Polkamp, didn't get to, I think I told this yesterday, but didn't see too much with him because he was a 7th defenseman. So, but again, Polkamp's journey of being an overage drafted player this year to kind of a fringe roster guy to making the team, I wouldn't be surprised if Polkamp kind of continues to earn some more ice time, because that's just what he's done throughout this whole journey. So didn't really watch too much of Team Canada. So I didn't get to watch Furlong that much, but I do know, Team Canada just absolutely dominated today with 10 goals. And which brings me to Macklin Celebrini, hopefully future Shark, with five points today. That's not too shabby. Again, Connor Bedard had 7 in a game last year, and Macklin Celebrini is, I'm not saying Macklin Celebrini is going to be Connor Bedard, but Macklin Celebrini, I think, is on his way to being a really special player, and the Sharks should do everything they can to put themselves in the position to try to draft Macklin Celebrini. And yes, I know there's a there's a lottery, and I've here of the there's no way Gary Bettman's letting Macklin Celebrini to go to the Sharks. Tanks are built on hope, guys. All right, this is what you have to hope. That's what makes tanks are built on hope, right? And plus, Bettman rigged last year's lottery. He's not going to do it 2 years in a row. So I'm joking. Am I? Maybe. Who knows? But Macklin Celebrini, I think we might be underestimating, how good this going from he's a pretty good player to oh, he might be our good friend Hattie was talking to, was tweeting about him today, and he might be a 100-point player in the NHL. Those don't just grow on trees. I mean, the Sharks have, you had Erik Karlsson, 100-point player. Then you have to go back to Joe Thornton days for the last time you had a 100-point player. Getting a that type of player on your roster, then you could be going into next year with Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, both on the Sharks roster next year, with William Eklund going into year 2, Tomas Hertl, you're hopefully getting Logan Couture. You're okay. You can see where this team is headed, especially if you can win. You got to get lucky. Got to put yourself in the best position possible. But, and again, it's one tournament. They were, they're playing, that's what good teams do. Canada, you're supposed to crush those teams 10-1 type of situations. But if Celebrini continues to have a really good tournament, and again, he's the youngest player in NCAA hockey right now. He'll also wear the face mask because he's not 18 yet in this tournament, the full cage. He's the one guy with the full cage in this tournament. The Sharks could be this rebuild could be really off and flying if you get Celebrini kind of as that cherry on top to go with Will Smith, to go with Quentin Musty, to go with William Eklund. And then you got Bystedt as Bysted's a souped up 3C. If you have Celebrini, Smith, Bystedt down the middle, that's not too bad right there. You could do a lot worse, especially looking at the rest of the Pacific and how the Ducks and the Kings have kind of built their teams down the center. Macklin Celebrini, guys, I think you're not settling. I know, again, Connor Bedard is a generational player, but Macklin Celebrini is going to be a really special player in his own right. So we'll keep tracking World Juniors, course, we'll keep track of Macklin Celebrini. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the Oilers game. Of course, we'll stay on top of World Juniors and the Sharks in action on Thursday. I'm trying to get my games all together. Be back on next week, of course, with the Avs and plenty of good stuff coming as well. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch the show on YouTube as well. You can also, if you want to check out what else is going on in the world of sports, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for your 24/7 coverage of the top sports stories on the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe for the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryhole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.